Have you ever felt like you're the only one trying to do the right thing? Like you're swimming against a current of chaos, negativity, and just wrongness? It can feel incredibly lonely, can't it? Now imagine that feeling. But amplified 1,000 times, imagine living in a world so consumed by violence and corruption that it seemed broken beyond repair. Everywhere you looked, people were fighting, hurting each other, and living only for themselves. This wasn't a movie plot. This was the world Noah lived in this dark, fractured world. Noah stood out, not because he was a king or a warrior, but because he was different in a much quieter, more profound way. He chose to live a life that honored God. While society spiraled into chaos, Noah walked a different path. He listened to a voice that everyone else ignored. This decision made him an outsider, a solitary figure in a world that had lost its way. Picture him, standing alone, looking up at the sky, holding onto a promise that no one else could see. It was a choice that would not only define his life, but also change the course of history forever. God saw the state of the world he had created. His heart was filled with pain to see how far humanity had fallen from the beautiful beginning he had intended. The world was full of wickedness, and every thought in the human heart was consistently evil. It was a tragic sight, but amidst all this darkness, God saw Noah. He saw a man who was righteous, blameless among the people of his time, and who walked faithfully with God. In a world drowning in sin, Noah was a beacon of hope. So God spoke to Noah. He revealed his plan, a plan so radical, so massive. It must have sounded impossible. God said he was going to bring a great flood to wipe the slate clean, to wash away the corruption that had tainted his creation. But he wasn't going to destroy everything. He was going to save Noah, his family, and a representation of every living creature on earth. And how would he do it? He gave Noah the most incredible building project in history: construct a massive ark. Think about the sheer scale of this command. Noah was asked to build a ship bigger than anything anyone had ever seen, on dry land, with no rain in sight. The dimensions were staggering: 450 feet long, 75 feet wide, and 45 feet high. He was given detailed instructions for its construction, from the type of wood to use cypress wood to the number of decks and the placement of the door and a window. And he had to coat it inside and out with pitch to make it waterproof. This wasn't just a weekend DIY project. It was a monumental undertaking that would take decades. Imagine the ridicule Noah must have faced. His neighbors would have seen him, day after day, year after year, toiling away on this gigantic wooden structure in the middle of a field. They would have laughed, mocked him, and called him a fool. Building a boat, Noah? Where's the water? The pressure to give up, to conform, to stop this seemingly insane project must have been immense. Every swing of the hammer, every piece of wood he shaped, was an act of faith. He was building on a promise, not on what he could see. He was trusting God's word over the world's skepticism. For 120 years, Noah preached and worked. He warned people of the coming judgment and invited them to turn back to God, but no one listened. They continued their lives, ignoring the warning that stood growing larger in their midst day by day. Yet Noah never wavered. His obedience was as massive as the ark he was building. He did everything just as God commanded him. His faith wasn't just a feeling. It was action, it was hard work, perseverance, and unwavering trust in the face of overwhelming doubt. Finally, the day came. The ark was finished. God told Noah to bring his family, his wife, his 3 sons, and their wives into the ark. Then, something truly miraculous happened. Animals of every kind began to arrive, in pairs, male and female, just as God had commanded. From the largest elephants to the smallest insects, they came, drawn by an unseen hand, and made their way into the safety of the ark. Once they were all aboard, God himself shut the door. Noah and his family were sealed inside, safe with the promise. Then the rain began. For 40 days and 40 nights, the heavens opened up, and the springs of the great deep burst forth. The world was plunged into a watery chaos. The flood waters rose, covering everything: the valleys, the hills, and even the highest mountains. Everything and everyone outside the ark was swept away. The very world that had mocked Noah was now gone. Inside the ark, Noah and his family floated safely above the destruction, a tiny vessel of life in an ocean of judgment. Their faith had become their salvation. The story of Noah is a powerful reminder that even when it feels like you're the only one, choosing to trust and obey God can lead to incredible deliverance. It shows that faith isn't about understanding every detail, but about trusting the one who holds it all. Have you ever felt like you're being asked to do something that makes absolutely no sense to anyone else? Imagine being told to build a massive boat in the middle of dry land with no sea in sight. This is the story of Noah, a man who faced a challenge that defied all logic. In a world that had grown distant from its creator, Noah walked a different path. He was a righteous man, someone who listened when God spoke. And one day, God did speak. It wasn't a whisper, but a divine communication that filled Noah's being. Imagine a brilliant light piercing the ordinary day, a presence so powerful it commands your complete attention. In that moment, God revealed a vision to Noah, a future that was both terrifying and filled with a promise of hope. God showed Noah a world consumed by water, not just a puddle or a river overflowing its banks, but a cataclysmic flood, a vision of rising waters, swallowing everything in their paths. Mountains, everything he knew, the world would be washed clean. It was a heart-stopping revelation. A warning of immense destruction. It would have been easy to dismiss it as a bad dream, a figment of his imagination. But Noah knew this was real. This was a message from God. But God didn't just show Noah the end. He also gave him a way through it. Alongside the vision of the flood, another image appeared in Noah's mind. It was like a divine blueprint, intricate and detailed. He saw the plans for an enormous vessel, an ark. The exact dimensions, the type of wood to use gopher wood, and the method of construction, sealing it inside and out with pitch. 300 cubits long, 50 cubits wide, and 30 cubits high. It was designed to withstand the unimaginable. This wasn't just a boat, it was a sanctuary. God's instructions were incredibly specific. Build 3 decks, a roof, and a single door on its side. It was a massive undertaking, a project that would take years, possibly a lifetime. Think about the sheer scale of it. Cutting down countless trees, shaping the lumber, joining it all together to create a structure larger than anything ever built before. And all of this based on a vision, a word from God. The world around Noah carried on, oblivious. People likely laughed and mocked. Noah, have you lost your mind? There's not a cloud in the sky. The ridicule must have been constant. Doubts could have easily crept in. Was he crazy? Was he wasting his life on a fool's errand? Every day he worked. He was making a public declaration of his faith in something no one else could see. It was an act of profound trust, a testament to his belief that God as word was more real than the solid ground beneath his feet. Yet Noah, along with his family, kept working. They sawed, they hammered, they sealed. Their hands became calloused, their muscles ached, but their resolve never wavered. They were building more than a wooden ship, they were building a vessel of obedience. They were constructing the very means of their salvation, following the divine blueprint step by step, nail by nail. Noah's story is a powerful reminder that sometimes the most important journeys we undertake are the ones that others don't understand. It's about listening to that inner voice, that divine guidance. Even when the rest of the world tells you you're wrong, it's about having the courage to build. Even when you can't see the rain, Noah believed God, and because of that belief, he and his family were saved. His faith became a legacy that has sailed through the centuries, reminding us that even in the face of an overwhelming flood, there is always an ark of hope.